Hello, I'm Anthony Bardaway with UATV, and welcome to the program. On Sunday, June 15th, Ukraine is honoring its soldiers who have served in UN peacekeeping missions. With us today in the studio is Hennadiy Kovalenko, who coordinates activities between the Ukrainian military and the UN peacekeepers. Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Yes. So we'll start with a general question. So what can you tell us about the history of Ukraine's involvement with the UN peacekeepers?
Basically, Ukraine started its history of participation in a UN-led operation back in 1992, when the Verkhovna Rada, or the Parliament of Ukraine, adopted necessary law. Since then, more than 42,000 service personnel participated in 25 different operations. And I can tell you that it's almost impossible to overestimate the experience that we have gained from those operations, and at the same time that value that we added to the peace and security all over the world.
So why did Ukraine initially take on this responsibility so soon after its own independence?
Yeah, first of all, we are a member of United Nations, and to be a reliable and trustworthy member of United Nations, I think that it's fair to Ukraine to provide capabilities in order to ensure security and peace in different countries, especially when the situation leaves much to be desired.
So was this a part of the requirements of Ukraine joining the UN, or was it a voluntary decision to make?
I think both ways. It was volunteering from the Ukrainian side, and you know, at the very beginning of the independence of our country, it was quite crucial for the image of the country to participate in different operations and to prove a reliable contribution to the peace and security in different countries all over the world. By the way, right now we have more than 400 people participating, military basically, participating in 9 operations in the different countries all over the world.
So for some of these ones are Liberia and the Democratic Republic of the Congo are the 2 largest commitments. Is there a reason why these ones specifically, as opposed to closer to home ones such as Kosovo or Cyprus? Or did the UN decide this? Did Ukraine decide this?
I think the decision is mutual, basically. And why we are staying in Africa? Because I think it's when we compare the, let's say, the environment and the conditions of the service, I think in Africa it's much more harder than in Cyprus, for example. And I think that our guys had already gained some experience in the participation in Africa, in those countries. And I think that since we are contributing to the peace and security there, and we are, you know, you have this term, the added value.
Yes.
And I think the Ukrainian contingent, both in Africa and in Kosovo, have this added value, and we are contributing to the peace and security. And the other reason that we would like to participate in the various operations, first of all, peacekeeping operations, because, you know, we are in the UN missions, we are working with the other nations together. And this jointness or multinational activities, it helps Ukraine to build trust, transparency, and to enhance the level of interoperability with the other nations.
So you would say that Ukraine took on these more difficult postings in order to, 1, build better relations, and 2, better training, essentially.
Absolutely. And we are developing trust and transparency among the nations. Another reason is that we are involved in the first generation process. We are involved in the logistics supply. We are involved in deployment, redeployment, this kind of stuff. And this kind of activities will help us to build up our armed forces.
But one thing about the Democratic Republic of the Congo is because it is one of the more difficult postings, I believe in March, sometime in the spring, there were a few UN peacekeepers there who were killed and eventually found. Is Ukraine concerned about the safety of its soldiers while serving in these hardship positions?
Absolutely, because, you know, when we're developing missions or in different countries, we start 4th generation process with the one simple first step is security issue. So we are analyzing security issues, and even if there are some concern about that, we think not about how avoid the difficulties, but rather how to, let's say, to eliminate them or to better prepare our personnel to participate in the mission. Because we fully understand if we will not participate, for the other guys, it will be the same challenge. So why we shouldn't take this challenge and prove that we are reliable armed forces? And speaking about the activities as I said, that multinational joint activities, I would like to mention here especially the international military exercises. For example, for this year we have planned 19 of them, 3 here on the territory of Ukraine and 16 abroad. And right now we have Sea Breeze exercise on the Black Sea Basin, and we have Cyber Guardian exercise in Romania, where we have paratroopers there, which are involved in the development of scenarios and crisis response operation, and providing peace and providing security for the local areas, evacuate the casualties, providing the corridors for the internally displaced person. And these different scenarios, they will help development of the operational capabilities of Ukrainian armed forces.
Okay, I will loop back to Sea Breeze in a bit, but first of all, I'd like to ask, so because so many soldiers have served in UN peacekeeping missions, for most of Ukraine's history, it wasn't involved in other wars or other conflict zones. So what experience did these peacekeepers bring to the Ukrainian military when the war in Donbass began?
I can tell you that what we have developed since war with the Russian aggressors began back 3.5 years ago, we have developed different mechanisms how to implement experience from those guys, from peacekeepers, and how to involve the international assistance and international support in order to help our guys on the front line. First of all, in April 2014, we have developed MGC, Multinational Joint Commission. At the very beginning, it was developed as a purely Ukrainian-American mechanism to have the urgent needs of the Ukrainian armed forces. But since it was developed 3.5 years ago, right now, to this day, we have more nations join that commission. We have the United Kingdom, we have Canada, Poland, Lithuania, helping us to develop our capabilities. Speaking about the training, because first of all, we need decrease the casualties from the front line, and we need to have trained and well-developed, equipped units. What we did, we established GMTGU, Joint Multinational Training Group Ukraine, in Yavoriv, as Lviv region. And since beginning of that mission, we have trained five battalions ready to defend our country. More than that, the Brits, they established Operational Orbital back in March 2015. Since then, the British instructors, they have trained more than 5,000 Ukrainian soldiers. And even God knows how many souls and how many soldiers they saved by the training. More than that, the Canadians, they have Operation Unifier. The Canadians, they're concentrating on the development of the military police of the Ukrainian armed forces. So as you see, we have like niche capabilities commitment. Some nations taking responsibility for training and equipping our Ukrainian soldiers, and not only teaching us, but gaining experience for us. And right now, we are not only, taught how to fight. We are sharing our experience. We are delivering our information to our allies, to our partners, how we are fighting the war on the eastern part of Ukraine.
And do any of these joint training exercises, are they through the peacekeepers at all, or are they just tangential benefits of having this relationship prior to?
I think that the international military, first of all, the objective for the international military exercise is to develop trust, transparency, and mutual understanding. Second objective of this military exercise is to share the procedures, operational planning, force generation, logistic, deployment, mission accomplishment. And for our guys, as our president put the goal of NATO interoperability by 2020, for us as militaries is actually essential to gain this interoperability, and participating in the different military exercises, both in Ukraine and abroad, will help us to, firstly, increase operational level of our armed forces, second, to gain necessary level of military interoperability.
And to finish off, just a brief word on Operation Sea Breeze right now. It's ongoing. We have some correspondents on the scene right now. So what is the importance of Sea Breeze and how it connects to Ukraine's partners, Romania, for example, in the Black Sea area?
Speaking about the military exercises, and let me continue in this way. Right now in Sea Breeze we have various nations from the Black Sea Basin and from the other nation like the United Kingdom, for example. They are participating by the divers and the staff officers. And participating in the military exercise, so many nations, they can show the unity of effort. They can show that the friendship, and they can show the same procedures of the planning and implementing. And let me finish with this explanation how we see the strategy towards Russian Federation. First of all, we think that the strategy of deterrence is, for the time being, is the only one which will work so far. And speaking about the strategy of deterrence, one of the essential part of this strategy is robust, well-trained, well-equipped armed forces. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank to the all contributing nations for Ukrainian armed forces, for their contribution, for their assistance, and for their help. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Today in the studio was Hennadiy Kovalenko, who coordinates activities between the Ukrainian military and the UN Peacekeepers on the occasion of Ukraine's Peacekeepers Day. Thank you very much.